In this lesson, we'll cover skinning workflows for cat rigs. So here is our final rig. We'd like to point out that in between lessons, I've made sure that additive to setup pose was supplied to our IK target controls. And also, after that, after creating our animation layer, we'd want to make sure that we've zeroed out the tracks of our ankles. You might need to also check the toes. They might be slightly offset in the y-axis. So it's just a matter of double checking each track and making sure it's clean and ready to go. Alright, so we can now get into skinning workflows. And honestly, it's the same as with any rig. It's a good idea to organize things in layers. That way, when it's time to skin to the skeleton, it's a lot easier to grab all of those objects. So let's go ahead and take a look. Heading over to our layer manager, we'll go ahead and hide our creature. What I'll do here is marquee select to grab the entire rig. And the first layer we'll create will be for the creature's skeleton, all of the bone objects we would skin to. So I'll just go through and start to deselect all of our control objects, including the IK targets, our manipulation gizmos. Let's go ahead and deselect them all. Let's not forget about the foot platforms, our pelvis control, the head control. Beautiful. Alright, I might even go to wireframe mode just to double check and make sure that everything is deselected that should not be added to this first layer. Don't want to forget about our global node, so let's make sure that's deselected as well. And then at that point, we'll go ahead and create a new layer. And we can go ahead and rename this to cat skell underscore creature layer. So this is right to the point, descriptive enough. Still, the name isn't too long at all. So by this we know that our cat skeleton is stored in this, and we know what the skeleton is tied to. Alright, so let's go ahead and make another one for our animation controls. We'll go ahead and grab everything else. We'll create a new layer. We'll name this cat ctrl s for controls underscore creature layer. Alright, so now we could start to unhide our layers, make sure they're also unfrozen, and everything looks great from here. So I'll now go ahead and make sure the default layer is active so any new objects are added here. We're ready to bring back our creature. We'll also unfreeze it and turn off see-through mode. With it still selected underneath our modify panel, let's go ahead and add a skin modifier. I'd like to also point out that Rick Vicens in his tutorial, his cat tutorial, he also covers some skinning workflows. He also covers how to work with the skin wrap modifier to envelope accessories. So that's another interesting topic. But here, again, we're just going to go ahead and tie our skeleton to this mesh. And then we'll paint a few weights just so you can get the process down. But we do have several rigging tutorials that covers that process. You can also take a look at rigging quadrupeds and facial rigging in 3ds Max. Those are a few. Character rigging for production, things like that. We covered it in all the rigging courses that require a character to be skinned. So feel free to take a look if you would like to learn more skinning workflows. But jumping right into this, what I'll now do is go ahead and hide the controls layer. And here's what that's going to do for us. Now when we go in and choose add bones, we're given all of the objects that we can skin to. If that layer was not hidden, I'll just go ahead and turn the visibility on again. And we go to add bones. Notice we have all of our gizmos and control objects here that we'd want to kind of filter out. So by simply hiding the layer, that helps us to select all of the objects we need, and it should be everything in this list. So now we could go ahead and choose select, and our creature is skinned. So let's take a look now by showing our controls. I'll go ahead and grab the IK target for the left arm and take a look. Beautiful. So everything's following nicely, and because of the approximation that our skeleton creates, we don't have much work to do painting weights on this creature. Alright, so that's exciting. Let's go ahead and take a look at our forearm twist. I'll start to rotate here. Beautiful stuff. Again, we don't have much to tweak. The legs might need a little bit of work, but they actually don't look too bad at all. I actually kind of like this. We have a few areas where there's much pulling that would need to be fixed, but we should be really satisfied with this initial skin, thanks to this great system that Cat has built in here. Of course, this flipping we see is simply because of the up node that would need to be brought forward. Alright, so that's nothing to worry about at all. We have some collapsing around the thigh, the right thigh. Chances are the same thing is happening on the left side. Let's take a look. Alright, so we have a little bit of caving in here. But no worries. If we wanted to tweak that, I'll go ahead and show you. Selecting our skin, what I do here is enter edit envelope mode. Simply clicking on the modifier, scrolling down, we'll find our weight painting tool. Let's go ahead and head over to its options and check here. Alright, I like to go ahead and set this to 1 initially, meaning that we'd paint a full weight. But we could definitely bring our brush size down. Let's go ahead and access our paintbrush, and you can see it's way too large. So we could start with a value of 1 or 2 or so, maybe even 2 to start out with. Alright, then we can also make sure paint blend weights is off, so we can paint precisely that amount without blending any weights. So I'll go ahead and simply turn that off. Then we can start to add weight to that bone object. Now, since our settings are in place for our paintbrush, what I do from here is go ahead and turn off the brush tool just to grab the bone that I'd like to paint to, and then enable that and start to paint. So we're just filling in this area, just blocking it in. And then at that point, we could start to decrease our weight intensity to smooth areas out. But typically, I don't like to work with paint blend weights. It just is a step that I don't necessarily need to take. I just like to go ahead and work with those paint options to get what I need. Alright, we need to be careful not to paint any areas that look nice. Alright, so I think this is going to work out well. We could always go ahead and double check this by grabbing our control after we exit edit envelope mode. Alright, beautiful. So that looks a lot better. And the great thing is that we can save time mirroring weights. Now, the mirror weights tool, it's incredible. It saves us a lot of time, but that doesn't mean that it's going to mirror everything perfectly. There might be a few areas that we'll need to touch up, so I didn't want to make sure you're aware of that. But what I do is enter into mirror mode, and then we could use this last option. Since we're working on our left side, we could go ahead and paste the blue verts on the left side over to our right side, which would be the green verts, and you can see those vertices are color-coded. If you'd like to learn more about this tool, feel free to take a look at our course rigging tutorial, as well as intro to rigging in 3ds Max. But I'll go ahead and mirror those weights across, and now we'll take a look at our right thigh. Much better. Take a look at that. Alright, so we get the same results on that side in no time at all. Love how efficient this tool is. Alright, great. Well, just wanted to cover the skinning process just so that you have an an idea of how that works with cat. Again, it's the same process, nothing unique about it necessarily. Only remember, it's good to first establish a good approximation between the cat skeleton and your skin. That way you don't have much to tweak. Take a look at the neck. I mean, this is really incredible, and there isn't much to do to clean up here. You can imagine if you spend the time to further edit the shape of your bone objects by using an edit poly modifier, how much better the result will be. So that's just something to think about. But either way, this initial skin is incredible, and it's going to work out very well for helping us to save time so we can jump right into animation. All right, so now that this is done, what we'll now do is stop the lesson, and in the next lesson I'll go ahead and show you how to save your rig out as a preset, then how to also save any accessories you may have, including your skinned character.